Welcome to Developing Innovative Ways to Support Women Entrepreneurs. This session will begin soon.
Welcome to our first session on helping women entrepreneurs soar. I'm Andy Simon, I'm your MC. And today our first session is on developing innovative ways to support women entrepreneurs. It's a very important panel. You're going to meet some marvelous people, but let me introduce you to the moderator. Pat Shea is a dear friend and a colleague. You're going to just love the way she brings out the right questions. Pat is a partner in Shea Advisory Services. She's also been an entrepreneur. She previously served as president and CEO of Gifl, an employee giving platform. Pat also serves as co-chair of the WBC Advisory Council and a founder of the WBC National Network. Pat, I turn it over to you. Enjoy the day. See you at the end.
Thank you, Andy, and good morning, everyone. Today's forum is about creating an opportunity to share new ideas and provide different points of view. Our panel, Helping Women Entrepreneurs Soar, Developing Innovative Ways to Support Women Entrepreneurs, is going to be great. Our panelists will focus on how women entrepreneurs can grow and scale our businesses and be more successful faster. The panelist wisdom will also help all women in business, because in some ways we're all entrepreneurs creating something, whether we're growing revenue, building business lines, or launching new products. So here's the data and the dilemma. Today, there are nearly 12.5 million women-owned businesses in the United States. This represents approximately 40% of all businesses. And these businesses generate $1.8 trillion annually for our economy. Yet, despite more women taking the entrepreneurial plunge, women still face many unique challenges. Limited access to capital, gender and age biases, work-life balance issues, and access to competent advisors, just to name a few. The bottom line, still today, 88% of businesses owned by women generate less than $100,000 a year. Again, 88% of businesses owned by women generate less than $100,000 a year. So women know how to start businesses. We can move to the center lane, but how do we help women fast track, accelerate the growth of their businesses? That's why I want you to meet our amazing panel. Today, we have three fantastic leaders from amazing organizations. First, Natalie Buford-Young. Natalie is the CEO of Springboard Enterprises, a 22-year-old nonprofit. Springboard accelerates the growth of entrepreneurial companies led by women through access to essential resources and a global community of experts. They are a leading network of influencers, investors, and innovators dedicated to building high-growth companies led by women who are transforming industries. Natalie is an accomplished corporate executive, entrepreneur, company advisor, and thought leader. She joined Springboard just 1 year ago. Prior to that, Natalie led market development for Deloitte's venture capital, private equity, and emerging private companies practices. Natalie also served as the executive director for Deloitte's Tech Venture Center, which provides programs and networking opportunities for entrepreneurs and investors. Our second panelist is Laura Taylor, Senior Vice President, Strategic Financial Services and WBE Engagement with WeBank. WeBank is a nonprofit whose mission is to fuel the economy by identifying, certifying, and facilitating the development of women-owned businesses. Laura leads the new WeBank Financial Center of Excellence, a financial research center providing education, funding, and coaching. Laura also has accountability for several signature programs, including WeBank Stars, the Women Business Forum, the Tuck WeBank Programs, Matchmaker, Collegiate Accelerator, and she created We Thrive, a pandemic pivot virtual education program. Previously, Laura led the WeBank certification and managed strategic partners. Before that, she was a leader at the global supply chain organization at Pitney Bowes. And our final panelist is Betty Hines, founder and CEO of Women Elevating Women, WOO. Women Elevating Women is a business peer advisory group where all women, multi-ethnic, multinational, and multicultural, executives and entrepreneurs openly come together and share and learn from each other. WOO is building an amazing community of women focused on elevating each other in their careers. Betty is a leading global strategist with 20 years of experience working with C-level women executives all over the world. And as a former executive in the Fortune 100, Betty uses her firsthand knowledge and extensive background to educate and equip her clients with the resources needed to position them for success. I've had the pleasure of working with Betty for over 10 years as we both serve as chapter chairs within the Women's Presidents Organization, where she also has served as an advisory board member. All three of these women are longtime advocates for entrepreneurs and are valued members of the entrepreneurial community. So Betty, I'm going to start it with you. Women entrepreneurs need innovative ideas. We've got to do something about growing this revenue. Your organization is innovative in a way that you're helping entrepreneurs. Please share with us how you're helping women and how you continue to change to meet the current needs.
Well, thank you, Pat, and thanks for having me on the podcast. It's good to see you twice in less than 10 days. But I do work with some very, very powerful women, and they are fearless business leaders in their communities. So what I do is that I share my experiences as an entrepreneur and as an executive, and essentially tell them that there's enough out there for all of us, because some of these women still work with that sense of scarcity. So with the WOO crew, Women Elevating stands for WOO, and they call themselves the crew, the WOO crew. We embrace what I have defined as my 5 pillars of success. And these 5 pillars are essentially successes that I've seen in entrepreneurs and executives. The first one being collaborate. Collaborate. How do you collaborate with each other? We need to do more of that. We're not known for that as women. The next is connect. How do we connect each other with different business organizations and government institutions? Communicate. How do we communicate our brand? We need to share our look with our other women and say, does this reflect what we're trying to say? And we also talk about courage. We're not talking about being big and strong, but we're talking about having courage to take care of your health and your wealth. And health was very important as we went through this pandemic. And we're talking about both the mental and physical. And then finally, how to cultivate. You take a look at accomplished executives and entrepreneurs, and you will see that they all sit on some sort of nonprofit board that they're giving back. So with WOO, our way of giving back is that we give a membership to a nonprofit organization in the WOO crew, which mirrors our mission. So those are our 5 C's of success.
I love those 5 C's, and I love the thought about abundance. Boy, there is enough. I like, there's the quote, the early bird gets the worm, and I always say there are plenty of worms. You don't have to be the early bird. Thank you for sharing that, Betty. That was fabulous. So Laura, why don't you take it from there? Talk to us about the innovative services and the way you're continuing to change to meet the needs of the women you serve.
Thanks, Pat. Well, at the Women's Business Enterprise National Council, which Pat shared is we're the largest certifier of women businesses in the United States, we have a core focus. And our core itself is our certification, but we also combine that with opportunities, resources, and engagement. So today, I'd just like to highlight a few of those that we've focused on the last couple of years, really, which are the innovative ways we're engaging our women businesses. The first of which is this Financial Center of Excellence that myself and my team are building out. And we're focused on 4 key areas there: learning, and we've been offering a number of financial acumen education programs in partnership with our corporate members. Something we called interconnecting, which is something that WeBank really works to support with our women business enterprises and our corporations. We offer networking and matchmaking, which connect our WBEs, the women business enterprises, with our corporate members. We also have a focus on funding. We've done a few grants to date through 2020, through 2021, through the generosity of our corporate members. And we are also beginning to build up partnerships with organizations like the Women's Business Collaborative to identify opportunities for funding for our women business enterprises. And then finally, something we call Thriving, which is coaching and counseling. We have active programs for our women business enterprises where they can receive one-on-one and group coaching. And in addition to that, I just would like to highlight a couple of other things for you in terms of innovation and really trying to stay ahead of the trends. And we have a collegiate accelerator program where actually 15 students will be gathering at our conference in June. We like to encourage involvement at the collegiate level because that will lead to our future entrepreneurs. And these women are absolutely amazing. They have running businesses today, and it's really terrific to see what they're doing. It's just phenomenal. We also have a next gen program where we feature and focus programs on our women businesses under 40 years of age, and a women of color program which focuses on our women of color. And both women of color and next gen, it's open to any women business, not just certified. So that's information you can find on the WeBank website and engage. So we're really about not only certification, but making these resources available to our certified women businesses as well as any women entrepreneurs. And finally, this year, I'm really excited to share that we've got an innovation pitch program running all year that culminates in November with a pitch finale. Thanks, Pat.
So Laura, before I leave you, that's really exciting that all women can actually become involved in WeBank. You don't have to be a certified women-owned business. So go ahead, what were you gonna say?
So we do have a number of programs that are open to all women business owners. Other programs are associated with your certification. So it's a mix, and you can certainly find something, find a program of interest, even if you're not certified.
And so this pitch opportunity that you have coming up, is that just for your certified members, or could anyone play in that field?
Well, Pat, this pitch opportunity is for our certified women business entrepreneurs. And because there are certain pitch opportunities we want to make available to our certified women who've invested the time to become certified. And so there may be opportunities in the future where we have it open to all. We do that occasionally with our next gen population, and it's open to non-certified, but this pitch opportunity is open to our certified WBEs.
Great. And one more point of clarification. I just raised around a capital not long ago, so I always think pitching means raising capital. But here, pitching is pitching your business. Is that right?
Yes, thank you. I should have mentioned that. Pitching is pitching your business, and the pitch money, there's pitch money, prize money at the end of the competition, and that's for you to invest in your business as you see fit, and that's provided by and sponsored by one of our or more of our corporate members. So it's pitching your business idea and your solution, your process. And it also quite often could result in doing business with one of our corporations.
Oh, and that's the key, growing business by getting us out there in front of the people that we can partner with, that we can do business with on a day-to-day basis. So Natalie, before I go to you, Betty, I want to come back to you just for a second. I didn't ask you that question. How do women join your organization? Is it open to everyone?
Yes, it is. We are a multicultural, national ethnic organization. We meet monthly, globally, virtually. Anyone can join. What we ask is that the women have at least 6 figures, and that's be it an executive or an entrepreneur. We figure that at 6 figures, an entrepreneur is running like a small P&L. We also believe strongly that there's lessons learned in both the entrepreneur and the executive. So they simply need to go to woocrew.com and they will set up an interview, but we welcome everyone. We believe in a global reach.
That's great. And there's such a sweet spot for what you're doing right now, just back on the data that I shared. So Natalie, I have known about WeBank and I've known about Woo and Betty for years, but you're my new friend and I'm so excited to get you in Nashville. Why don't you share with everyone what your organization does, how you stay relevant, and how you really can help women fast track their business? Natalie, you're on mute. I love to say that. Natalie, you're on mute.
You'd think we'd get better at this after 2 years of almost exclusively doing it. Thank you, Pat. And thank you for the opportunity to tell the Springboard story. And what you said about being your new friend and having not heard about us, I've heard before. So let me get a little bit of a background, and that's exactly why I joined Springboard a year ago. When Springboard started 22 years ago, there was a ton of money flowing over the transom to startups. and none of it was going to women-led companies. So Springboard set out on a mission to change it. And in our first year, 22 years ago, we had 350 applications from women. We selected 26 of them, loaded them up, took them out to Oracle Theater in Silicon Valley to an audience of top investors. And as a result of the inaugural event, 22 were funded, 2 merged, and 1 sold. So with that, Springboard knew that we were onto something, really looking to help women entrepreneurs. So over this 22 years, we've developed one of the most powerful networks for advising and accelerating the growth of entrepreneurial companies led by women. And we showcase our companies through our Dolphin Tank pitch events, which are friendlier pitch events. And we run a comprehensive cohort program for companies that are post-seed, Series A, or later stage, to really help them scale. And it's really about our network. That's the power. It's our network of advisors, the industry subject matter experts that we bring to the table, corporate leaders, investors, and others that are really excited to contribute to the growth of innovative women entrepreneurs who are building the next generation of high growth, high impact companies. So you're probably going to ask what you did for everyone else, which is how do you get in? If you are a woman-led, woman-owned company, if you're focused right now in life sciences or technology, you can apply to be a part of one of our cohorts. If you're in other categories that are not life sciences or technology, you can apply to be part of one of our Dolphin Tanks. And our next one coming up is with Procter & Gamble, focused on women innovating in daily wellness and health. So that's just a tip of the iceberg. We also run the Women's Health Innovation Coalition, focused on women entrepreneurs innovating around women's health. It has an advocacy component to it, lots of research. So we just found that so many of our women were innovating around women's health that we need to dive in a little deeper and focus on that as well.
What an important area too, because women's health has been so neglected, and specifically for women of color. So I appreciate that. I'm going to ask you sort of a surprise pop-up question because we have a minute. So okay. I think last year women got less than 3% of the capital. And one of the initiatives of the WBC is to increase and give women access to capital. Why do you think women have still continued to get so little?
Well, I can speak to the last few years and then a little bit of my perspective on it. So yes, we went from, in 2019, 2.8% of funding went to women founders. And then in 2020, it dipped even lower to 2.3%. And then in 2021, it went to 2%, which is the lowest since 2016. It's less than 0.5% for women of color, which is awful. By comparison, all male teams raised about 79% of total venture capital funding. And during the pandemic, that's one thing. You think about what happened in the last few years. We have a heavily male-dominated venture capital arena. Many women, are already challenged with that. But during the pandemic, there are a few things that happened. One is women were focused on their families. Everybody was suddenly back home. You've got a house full of children or people with needs, and many women during this, last couple of years pumped the brakes on their, building their businesses and even going out for their fundraise. They really had to mitigate risk and think it through. So I'm hoping we're just kind of in the pandemic hangover and that this is going to shift. But also during this pandemic time, a lot of men, men investors really defaulted to their normal ecosystems and were also mitigating their own risk, saying, well, we're comfortable over here. We know this network, we know these founders, so we're not going to take a leap of faith into new opportunities right now.
Yes.
So and then part of it is on women. Women are conservative in their ask. They don't ask for as much money. They take lower valuations. So part of what Springboard does is really take a look at the market and help to educate women on what is the competitive landscape, what are others, male or female, raising in your space, what is reasonable for you to consider. I mean, it's really about being armed with enough information. It's okay to raise less and preserve your equity, but don't do it at the risk of not being able to scale and grow your business. So, right information allows them to make better decisions. That being said, revenue is the cheapest form of capital. So if you're generating revenue, you don't have to worry about all of this outside raising, but, and short of that, have the right information in order to ask for the right amount of money.
Thank you. That's very helpful. I'm very proud because I sit on the board of the Women's Business Collaborative. And one of our 9 initiatives is, as I mentioned, access to capital. And we're working both sides. We're working getting women into the position where they are the funders, and we're teaching women how to raise the capital. So I just love that about what we're up to. So I want to stay with you for just a couple more minutes. So we know women entrepreneurs really need to get insight from other women entrepreneurs and other successful businesswomen. So it's not just entrepreneurs, but it is time for we women to open up and share everything we know with each other. I really believe that, and we've said this to girls forever, if they can't see it, they can't do it. What insights do you have to share with women entrepreneurs and all women business leaders today, based on your life's experience, based on your current organization, and based on what roadblocks you see get in the ways of our ability to grow and scale?
Some of the things that I just named. I mean, we're not asking for necessarily the right amount of money to grow and scale our businesses. I think what all of the panelists here today are doing, and quite frankly, the members of the Women's Business Collaborative are all focused on this, which is building this powerful network and ecosystem and leveraging it to help each other. So, I mean, that's the power of Springboard. It's not one person. It's not our staff. It is the 5,000 advisors that we can call upon to say, if a woman is, one of our life sciences women is going through the FDA approval process for the first time, that's not an intuitive process. You don't want to have to figure it out on the fly, but we can go to our network and grab, half a dozen or a dozen people that have done it multiple times over and say, this person is going to usher you through the process because they're a subject matter expert. So that really leads it back to, leverage your network. And it also leads me to, one of the challenges that I see women, right now, women and minorities will say we're over mentored. We've got all of these resources trying to mentor us. You're only mentored if you don't know where you're trying to go. So if you ask specific questions and you know what you're looking for when you're asking for help, you get action. If you're ideating, you get mentored. So I think sometimes we have to be much more specific. And the way that I coach our women entrepreneurs is, they'll say, we want to go into this market, or we need access to big pharma, or we need access to a CRO. Well, they have to finish that thought and finish their homework and then ask me specifically, or ask our team specifically, I'm trying to reach so-and-so in this organization for this purpose. That's how you get action. You get mentored if you're kind of trying to make someone else figure it out for you. And I'll liken it to asking someone to help you find a job, but not telling them what you want to do.
Yeah.
So
Good
you can't
point.
let
Very
them,
good point.
yeah, you can't let them fill it in for you.
Yes, my experience is women are way over mentored and way under resourced. So thank you for that point. So Laura, let me turn it over to you. What insights? I mean, your view of the world is quite broad, and you've worked with women forever and successful women. So what are the insights you want to bring to the table today?
Well, in this area of, trends that we're seeing that will help to accelerate growth. And I think I've already heard it from Betty and from Natalie, right? Partnering and collaborating, but I'll take a little different tack today. We've actually built into many of our programs the opportunities for peer networking, because women learn from other women. And we really opened up in this virtual world, right? We've opened up those breakout rooms, and in each one of our signature programs, we have opportunities for peer groups. And women, we split up by industry. We may split up by a need. We also host something called, through our forum group, we host a give and get, which is you simply say, you know, I'm looking for help here. And I happen to have this knowledge or this resource, or I've been through this process. I can help you through it, as Natalie referenced, right? With navigating, let's say, an application process, for example. So that partnering and collaboration and that peer-to-peer networking has really it's just gotten so elevated, I think, in the last 2.5 years, because the only way we could connect was virtually, we've been able to naturally build it into all of our programs. So I think that's my focus on my message today, right? That peer learning, when you meet others in programs, right, you get connected. There's your opportunity. There's your open door, and you can learn from other women business enterprises. And we also make opportunities to connect with corporate members on some of our smaller sessions as well, so that you can understand, for example, what the pharma needs are, what the pharma trends are. We just ran a session in March. We did a number of industries. One was pharma, so that we could provide information, because that's another thing our women businesses need. They need insights, and to be able to prepare and do their research, we thought, well, who better to provide that information than our industry experts from our corporate members? So that was another action we took, because we saw that we saw that need within our organization, Pat.
That's wonderful. And you are singing Betty Hines's song. But Betty,
Yes, you are.
I know. I really am interested in your insights. I like anytime I get to hear you talk about women and the movement that you are taking on. So share with everyone today, what are the key?
Yes. First, thank you for sharing that information about access to capital, and that in terms of capital for women of color in the BIPOC community, it's 0.5%. And I would even go further, say at 0.5%. So knowing this, what we need to change that narrative. So one of the messages that I share with my crew is that it's okay not to know, but it's not okay not to ask. And what tends to happen with the crew in my group, they come across the globe, is that the word access to capital, I bring people in to have a discussion with them. Do you know what that means? What do you understand is access to capital? Is it really you need the venture capital money? Do you need the angel investor? What is the capital that you need? Because it's easy for them to use that term, but in some cases, if their business is not scalable, then maybe it's a small business loan. So that is the education that we provide for them in the WOO group. And we do it in a safe environment, because often women are afraid to ask the questions because they feel that they'll be laughed at, because it's a vernacular that a lot of the women in the community that I work with and across the country, it's just a vernacular they're not comfortable with. So that is a very important thing that we do. And absolutely true, peer advisory groups. I am a huge advocate of peer advisory groups, as you well know, Pat, us being part of the WPO, but more so for this group that I'm talking about with 6 figures on up. They also need to have the peer advisory groups and the things that we do, some of the insights. It's one thing to have a peer advisory group. It's another thing to belong to a group, but it's also key and important that you have an accountability partner. So in each one of our groups, each person is assigned an accountability partner. Because even though you might meet monthly, something might come up and you need to ask that question. So you need to be with your accountability group. And what I found with women in particular is that we do learn by sharing others' experiences, by sharing our own personal experiences, by sharing knowledge, and also sharing resources. That is something that we really promote within our organizations. And the last thing that I'll mention in terms of insight, women need to get outside their zip code. My group hears this all the time. There's a tendency to stay with the same group you've always been with, outside your zip code. Get outside your zip code, get outside your county, get outside your state, get outside your country. Because what we have found by reaching out to the women in Dubai and in places in Africa and the UK, women are women. And they share some of the same challenges that we have. But when you stay within your own circle, there's a tendency for you to regurgitate information. So that's a huge element for us. And just to put the cherry on top, we talk about women, we embrace diversity, equity, and inclusion. We don't just speak about it, we are that. That is why we have the different nationalities. We have different states. We have California and with Minnesota and with Georgia, the East Coast. We believe in diversity for all women. And that way, and what I have found in that way alone, is that they feel like they belong. So I encourage people to find a peer advisory group like Women Presidents Organization or the Woo Crew. Find an organization that meets your needs.
I love it. I love it. Diversity brings brilliance. Broaden your worldview. Ask, don't be afraid. Those are great points. So ladies, your final question, and I'm going to start with Natalie on this one again. What's your call to action for women today? So what do you want women who are in the audience listening to you, what do you want them to do today, tomorrow, to accelerate the growth and the success of their business?
It really goes back to, kind of the theme of what we've all been saying, which is ask for help when you need it, but be very specific about it. And if you're asked for help, take action. Don't just give advice, make a connection. Think about how you can, further what they're trying to do, not just be a sounding board. I think that's, when our male counterparts have someone in their office that needs something or is asking them for advice, they literally pick up the phone and they say, I got a guy, and they get the guy on the phone and they're like, see my guy, he's coming your way. So that's the type of action. We just have to be bold. We haven't always had that network, but if you look around the room now, there's so many women in power and there's so many women who have become accomplished business leaders. So we need to, embrace those women as well as the men that are willing to step out and say, I've got a gal or I've got a guy that's going to come see you. So, I mean, it's really about being smart about the ask and not being afraid and not being unwilling to be educated. So
I love that. The resources are out there. Identify and call on them. Use your resources. I love that. And I love the fact that you brought up men, because I think there are a lot of men that want to help us. So pick up the phone and call them. Do not be shy.
We've onboarded 41 new advisors since the beginning of the year, and a lot of new men are coming in saying, hey, I just want eyes on on the best new innovations. I don't care if they're men or women, and women are great innovators. And when women solve problems, they tend to solve it for all of humanity, not just for women. So there's a lot of statistics around that as well.
And one thing I do want to tell women is tell men how to help you. They might not know how to be the ally that you want them to be. So not only do you ask the question, but tell them really specifically what they can do to be your support, your ally, your friend, your mentor. So Betty, your thoughts on this? And I want you to be, Betty's very inspirational. So Betty, what do you want people to walk out of here do the minute we get off this Zoom?
I want to say, be a woman or a man, a visionary man who elevates women. And what does elevate mean? We have that acronym that E means to encourage women to scale their businesses. L, legitimize each other. By doing business with each other, it's like giving legitimacy to that person. Refer that individual to another. Share, and that's legitimization in itself. Validate. Make those strategic introductions in those references that I've talked about earlier, those strategic connections. A is to appreciate each other's gifts. We all have different gifts. T is to trust. And not only trust, we need to teach. We need to teach each other. There's things that I'm very strong at, strategic, but then on the financial side, I might have to go to somebody else and ask them for the financial help. So trust and teach each other. And E, we must edify each other by building each other up. So be a woman who elevates. We lift as we climb. That never stops. Our hashtag is We Who, HOO, and the WHO stands for helping others out. Woo will take you higher. And I'm the chief elevator. Thank you.
That's great. That's wonderful. So Laura, close it up for us on this question. What do you want women to
Wow, it's amazing to follow Natalie and Betty. So it's a hard act to follow, Pat, but I'll try. Add a couple of thoughts, right? I totally agree with all of their points, and it's so true that you can't be afraid to ask for help, and you need to be specific about where you need help. I would add to that a couple of things. Don't be afraid to just get engaged. Get engaged. Attend, an industry association event, or look into joining one of these organizations, because that will naturally bring you connections to other people who have resources that you need and who need your resources. So just get engaged. You don't need to shoulder the world and your business on your own. And if you get engaged and expand that network, it will really come back to you tenfold. And then I also want to just mention something that we do at WeBank, right? One of our taglines is join forces, succeed together. And so we operate with 14 regional partner organizations across the country. So there's opportunities for you to get engaged at a local level. And it's so important for all of us to join forces, whether it's what we call a he's for she. One of our the men that support women businesses, or it's a women business owner, or some of our largest women businesses have become phenomenal supporters to our smaller women businesses. So it's get engaged. It's don't be afraid to ask for help. Not nearly as inspirational as Betty and Natalie probably, but good meat and potatoes advice. And that's where I'd like to leave you, Pat.
So before you leave me, I want to ask you one question. If I talk to some of the most successful women in WeBank, what would they say WeBank did for them?
Well, I think first and foremost, they would say that it offered them a network, right? We've got 18,000 certified women businesses, and they offered them a network to build the network and engage with other women. And now they want to give back. And some of the largest ones are giving back and coaching and mentoring our smaller businesses, and really just also helping to spread the word and the value of women businesses.
Yes, thank you. Women frequently, my experience is they don't realize how much is available to them. They need to pick up the phone and call those who seem to know. Before I wrap this all up, and I'm going to ask everybody this question. So I would tell everybody to get off this Zoom, go to your websites, read about your organizations, and reach out. So Laura, what's the best way for someone to get you? Is it email, cell phone? How would you want someone to connect with WeBank and you?
Yep. So for me specifically, actually just go to webank.org, and our entire team is listed there. I'm listed there as well. Please reach out to me via email. We've also got a support email. If you have a particular question about something you've heard about today, we will get right back to you. So please reach out and take a look at our events calendar. If you are certified, everything is open to you, and everything in our partner organizations is open to you. And if you're not certified and you're curious, every month we have demystifying certification sessions, and we have a number of sessions, as I told Pat, that are open to any women business. We actually have a program right now, Thriving, and Thriving is open to all small businesses. So please take a look at that when you go to our website.
Thanks. So Natalie, I told you already I want you to come to Nashville, because I just know some people need to know about you. What's the best way for women to reach you? What's the best way? They're going to go to your website. They're going to read all about your amazing services. Do you want them to call you, email you?
Well, Natalie at springboardenterprises.org. Start there. You can go to our website. I can tell you we're in a complete website overhaul, refresh, to be launched next month. So coming soon. We do have our current website. And if you want a steady stream of programs that you can attend that are open to the public, follow us on LinkedIn. We post all of our Dolphin Tank programs. We have one, I think I mentioned, coming up with Procter & Gamble focused on wellness. We have one on life sciences coming up later in the month. So that is a steady stream on social media. So follow Springboard Enterprises on LinkedIn or Twitter or Instagram to know what our programs are. Our new website will have a comprehensive calendar, much easier way for people to engage.
I am so excited about your new leadership of this organization. So Thanks for that. So Betty, what would a successful member of your organization say, and what's the best way to get you?
What they would say is join WOO, and primarily because of the connections, the collaborations that we have with sister organizations. One being Women Presidents Organizations. We just got back from Montreal. I haven't had a chance to post those pictures, but we were part of the pre-conference, and we serve as a feeder into WPO. So the women not only have our WOO conference, but they have access to those phenomenal women in the WPO. So I would tell the women, if you want to know more about us, our organization, go to woocrew.com. That's WEWCREW.com. We are currently launching our 4th and 5th crew. So you'll see the email information there, admin@bettyhines.com. Reach out and we'll interview and we'll put you in the right spot. But be part of a peer advisory group. And that is the biggest lesson and value that my members would share with you today. They love being part of a group.
It's really important to have a safe space. And the women do have the knowledge and the wisdom. And again, I want to end this by saying, remember what I said, we represent 40% of all businesses, and yet 88% of women-owned businesses are only billing 100,000 or less a year. So we do really need to shoulder up, do business with business, refer business to women, and be the support that we all need ourselves. So Andy has showed up, so I get to turn this over to Andy. Laura, Natalie, Betty, thank you so much for your brilliance and for your devotion. And I look forward to next year because all these numbers are going to change and we're going to celebrate. And it's all yours.
You have no idea how frustrating it is to smile behind my dead picture there. And I've been smiling for the entire time. And Betty, you can go behind your picture if you like, but I can only thank you all for a most insightful and exciting, inspirational session. I know our audience has felt the same because so much of this is going on, but how do we make sure people know about it? My theme has been, what are the innovations? You are each innovating in big ways. What's the insights that we're learning? Peer-to-peer collaboration. Get out of your zip code. Think about the small thoughts that turn into bigger ones. I love Natalie's that when women do something, it changes the world, not themselves. And that is so true. And then Laura, the things that you've taken way back well beyond. So ladies, thank you so much for amazing, amazing, impactful statements of what's going on and how to do it. For our audience, however you'd like to take on to our next panel, I can only tell you that the conversation is going to be equally amazing. You're going to be inspired and you're going to leave wanting an action. I think Natalie is right. You can think about it, but what are we going to do about it? So I tell you that the next one starts at 12:15. You got just about 10 minutes for a little self-care, to figure out where you're going, and then to enjoy the next panel. Pat, you've been a fabulous moderator. Thank you so much. And I think it's time for us to all say goodbye. Thank you all. It's been fantastic. What a way to launch our day. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending.